Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Hi, I am Sylvia Hayes, and you are watching Good News at Primetime. Today, we have a powerful show tonight. We're going to be talking about women in power, and our topic is her story, celebrating her story, because women are always been, I won't say always, but for the most part, they're put on the back burner, like women can't do anything, women have no power. And for the longest, women have been the servants to the men. Whatever men say do, that's what women had to do. Women couldn't vote, women couldn't do a lot of stuff. And in some countries, women can't even drive, they can't go places without a man, they have to have their heads covered up. That's not woman. In their country, that's woman man control. But women have power too. Women have power. And I would like for us to start recognizing, well, I would like for them to recognize the power of a woman, because women are so powerful. We are the creation. We gave birth to life. Okay. Just remember that if it wasn't for women, we wouldn't have life, because we incubated and gave birth to life. We're the one who nurtures the baby, give them milk from our breast so they can survive. We're the one who teach them the right from wrong, even though man is there sometimes, but it's the women who really cuddles and nurtures the baby. So women are powerful. They have strength, and without a man, without a woman, shall I say, man won't be as successful, because behind every successful man is a woman, be it his wife, be it his mother, his grandmother, his sister, or his daughter. It behind every successful man is a woman. And I just want you to remember that. And we're going to first go off onto my book, Power Thoughts, Empowering You to Be Successful in Life. You got to get this book. That book is really powerful. It has helped so many people. I have had a grandmother to read my book, and after reading the book, first of all, let me tell you that she had a low self-esteem. Okay, she got my book and she read it. After she read my book, her self-esteem went up. She went back to school. Okay, got a little education, and then she started her own business from my book. And I had one lady to tell me my book literally saved her grandson's life. Okay. So it is a good book to read, and everybody should have it. So Power Thoughts, Empowering You to Be Successful in Life. You can get that book at ankproductions.com. ankproductions.com. Or you can just Google the book Power Thoughts by Sylvia Hayes. You can get it that way as well too. So it's on the internet, Power Thoughts. And we have another show coming up. I guess well, maybe you don't know. I am an entrepreneur, and I've diddle and daddle in a lot of things. So right now, I am in the process of producing a show called Lord, I Need a Laugh. Okay, it's a gospel and comedy show, gospel music and comedy. Okay, so that is June the 3rd in Snellville. So stay tuned for that. And you can find the information on Eventbrite. We got it on Eventbrite. Lord, I Need a Laugh. Lord, LAWD. Okay, Lord, I Need a Laugh. On Eventbrite, June the 3rd, 6 o'clock. Okay, doors open at 6. So let's get back to talking about women. Okay, so women, did you know that Eve was not the first woman on earth? Eve was not the first woman. Lilith was. And Lilith was a powerful woman. She was a strong woman. I got to admit, she was a strong woman, because she refused to be dominated by the man, Eve. And so she ran away. And after she ran away and said, I'm not going to take this crap from them, she left him. And God had to make another woman. This time, he put Adam to sleep and took a rib from him and made Eve so he could cuddle her. She coming from his side next to his heart, to be cuddled by him with his arms, to be protected by him. So he had to take care of that woman. So hopefully, he did the right thing by her. I guess he did because she didn't leave him. But Lilith did. Lilith was the first woman. And right there shows that woman have strength. Okay? So women have strength. And let's go ahead and bring on co-host Reggie Drummer. Hey Reggie, how you doing today? Can't hear you. You are muted. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Earphones. Power to the sisters out there. You dropping that knowledge on these ladies out here doing some big things. Shout out to the audience. I have to give a kudo shout out to women. I was raised by women. My mother, my grandmother, my aunts, and a lot of women in my neighborhood because my mom almost passed away. I think it was about 2 or 3 months before we got with her. So we've always been around some powerful women, and they always stepped up and put work in. Uh, Definitely on this month, this is an opportunity to recognize some women and their contributions. If you leave it up to men, just like they do with Black history, they won't tell the truth. Men won't tell the
Right.
truth. I have to just say it. Men make it look as though men were doing everything. And you know how they say
Mm-hmm.
behind, well, some people say beside or behind or with or near a man, there's always a woman. There's always a woman doing some work, putting some work in, and whether or not she got credit or not, it was an interesting thing. Uh, I look at some women, even when it come down to the president, even before Nancy Reagan, there were some women that ran the White House. I think
Mm-hmm.
under Truman, he had Truman, Roosevelt. There was some powerful women up there running things, and men kind of just wanted them to cook, have babies, and just be domesticated. So women have put and continue to put a lot in. When we look at the customs and different things, uh, matter of fact, there are some customs that say women were the first ones here on the planet. Man just
Mm-hmm.
changed it to control the actions there for the women. But definitely want everybody to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button over here, Square Mile Media Atlanta. Thank you, Miss Sylvia, you're a powerful woman. Uh, our producer, Miss Adrian Coleman, powerful, powerful. I know a lot of great sisters. I just came out of Selma. It was packed full of sisters running
Oh,
things,
really?
making things happen. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, women do make things happen, and they are very strong and very powerful, and yet they're used and abused by the man, by the male population because they want to dominate. And that's what's so disturbing. They want to dominate and have preference over the woman. But women, they stand out. And sometimes men don't know that they're being controlled by women because women are slick with it. You know, like if
Uh,
they want something done, women sometimes they get stuff done and men don't know the women are behind it. And the man is doing it, you know. They have a way of doing things and getting men to do things without men being without them rejecting. So like if you play like for instance, let me give you an example. Stove. Woman want a new stove, So like um she might say, this stove is bad. We need a new stove. He might reject. Then you know what? She start not cooking. Stove not working. I can't cook. And he gonna get tired of not having meals or half done cornbread or burnt peas or whatever. No, she need a new stove. And he's gonna get tired of it. He gonna get that stove for us just so she can cook for him. you know that's just an example, but that I guess maybe that was a poor example, but women know how to get things done. Okay,
yeah.
so and
We
a lot
use
of times the men do things and they think that women are dumb, but just because they don't say anything doesn't mean they don't know anything. I tell my kids that all the time. I tell my husband, just because I don't say anything doesn't mean I don't know anything. I wait and let you hang yourself. because we
Oh,
calculate. We calculate and we keep things
well,
in our head.
well,
Yep.
uh, I'm thinking about and just looking at as it's a how they say it's a man's world, but it can't go on without a woman. A lot of times, men do change the narrative just to keep control and maintain control. One of the things we're finding out in many cultures, the women do most of everything. If you look in the animal kingdom, it's the female lion or any other species, especially amongst mammals. The female really takes care of nurturing, protecting, and she go hunt. She do it
Mm-hmm.
all. So it's nothing new for women to be at the head of the of the forefront. I was thinking about women history. Uh, the reason for celebrating. They, just like Black history, Carter G. Woodson penned it, and Gerald Ford actually made it into a month-long celebration. Well, guess who penned, uh, who made Women History Week into? He started out with Women History Week, and then next year, Congress voted it in.
No, who was that?
President Jimmy Carter.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
President Jimmy in 1980. One of the last things he did was to create Women History Week, and the Congress after that they went and made it into a month long celebration. It used to be the week of the 8th of March,
Mm-hmm.
and you look at Jimmy Carter. I think of Jimmy Carter as much man, but he was also he's a compassionate person. You know what I'm saying? Because even in his relationship with his wife, him and Rosalind, they've been married. I don't know how long. They've been married over how old I am because they 90 something and he's still rolling. But he had a great deal of respect for her, as a woman. And when men can understand that or overstand that, it makes things a lot better. Because men try to like I saw in a barber shop. If a guy tell you he run things at home, he'll lie about anything.
Yeah. They,
Yeah,
they 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 are allowed to think that they run things, but they don't really.
yes,
They don't really. They think they run everything. Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
But the women, they do. And I was thinking about, how way back the hush puppies. Okay, so you know who invented the hush puppies, right? Hush puppies came from black people. Yeah. So like
Okay,
the women back in slavery day were the cooks. So they
okay,
created these little things called hush puppies to give to the slaves when they get ready to run away. Okay, so
okay.
they made the hush puppies and gave it to them. So like when the slaves are running, they take the little hush puppies and they throw them out somewhere, and the dogs would stop and get the hush puppy, which would throw their scent off, throw them off from the trail. And that's where hush
Wow.
puppies come from. The dog will stop barking and stop hunting to stop and eat this little piece of bread, that
Oh,
the women
so
had
hush.
cooked.
So hush puppy. I like that.
Yeah,
Well,
hush puppies.
that's an interesting thing. So many things come out of the. They say necessity is the mother of all inventions. Because you needed something, it happened. And
Mm-hmm.
cases of so much, you look at women as being creative because a lot of times it doesn't matter whether the man was taken out of the house or whether the woman it was a war situation and the woman had to take control and be in charge of things. It's not unnormal now over here in America because we've been so colonized. It's not unnormal to see women provide, fight, and do it all. Okay, over
Mm-hmm.
here it's because the male did not want to share power with women. You look at white women here in America, up until Susan B. Anthony, and I think she was a woman suffrage, but even the black
Mhm.
male had the right to vote in what 1865, coming out of slavery. But the
Mhm.
woman was just a little bit lower than a black male, the white woman. You
Yeah.
know, but not in power, but just in perspective, because women would not get the right to vote until what 1920s.
Yeah. I'm not
Okay,
sure what it was, but yeah.
it was
Okay.
not. That's why they got Susan B. Anthony on the on the $1 uh, coin. But that just shows
Yeah.
you how the white man looked at his woman. Now, because of the 13th Amendment, they had to do certain things. But what I'm saying, they did not look at women equally. So in turn, some of that was passed on to us as a people here in America. But in most customs, the woman, we see movies like The Woman King and so many other movies where women fighting, uh, where women protecting the village, where women, they got women fighting with the baby on the side, carrying the
Mhm.
baby to battle, warrior women. Well, because women had to do it, they had to put in work. Well, over here, because we've been colonized so much, you know, uh, maybe this is quick. Uh, in America, a lot of times women were dying. White women died. Okay, they usually give childbirth, and they were gone. If you look at all the little movies, the cowboy and Indian movies, uh, most of the cowboys look at Bonanza. You look at Gunsmoke. You look at the Rifleman. All these guys were, they had either they had a son or they had a son. But people ask, well, where were the women? On Bonanza, you had Horace, Ben Cartwright, Little Joe, Adam, but you never had. Most time a woman came on there, she would die. I always knew that if a woman, if Little Joe was gonna get married, the woman was gonna die. If Horace was gonna fall in love, the woman was gonna die. So they always wrote the women out of these scripts. And many shows up until 1960s, women, these are white women, were not looked at
Mhm.
in a favorable light. It was dad's knows best, all this type stuff. Usually she was a domesticated person. I think the first aggressive women were shows like Bewitched. Uh, well, I was gonna say I Dream of Jeannie, but he kept her in that bottle. He throw her in that bottle. You remember I Dream of Jeannie?
Yeah, I
Throw her in
remember
that
that
bottle
one.
a minute. Barbara, I
Yeah.
think it was a ton of Barbara Eden. Barbara Eden. She stayed in that little bottle. That
Yeah,
just
and
shows you
Lucy
the.
Inez, Lucia Ball, she
Oh yeah,
wasn't that passive either.
yeah. Lucy broke the barrier down because
Yeah.
uh she produced and then she had a Hispanic brother, Desi Arnaz, on the show. So those
Mhm.
women really broke some barriers during the time period. You look at even in the news industry, I was just looking at something with Barbara Walters. Barbara Walters, males, I mean white males, they did her dirty. You
Did
know,
they?
oh man, she called hell. Uh the white and this we're talking about in the 70s. They didn't want her to be a
Mhm.
news anchor because I don't think and then you fast forward and see where black women started to come on board. It was the same thing. There was men that pushed a male agenda to keep them subservient. They gave them the love stories. They say, she can't handle real news, nothing like the war, nothing like that. Let her do a bacon show, and this woman was a news type person. They said, well, we're gonna give that to this person. But women have had to push uh, for recognition. I mean, even in the
Mhm.
workplace, I remember in the military when the women in the Navy, even though women they call them WACs during World War II, but when women came on ships, I was in the Navy when women first came on ships.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to think about how men would think. And this white men, black men, Hispanic men, this is just men. You know, they had women on ships. The first ships they came on board were supply ships. So women were like yeomen, was deal with paperwork. They were medical. They were supply and stuff like that. Uh, well, the men would be upset because they thought the women were taking their job. So
Uh-huh.
they would sabotage the women. These men. I mean, this and we 20, 21, 22 years old, but it was a in-house mindset all the way up. They said, it was like and it helped me to understand racism, sexism. I saw it firsthand. Uh Now, I didn't have any women per se working in my division, but I had women, I knew women that were in other places, like a woman radio. I remember this sister, man, they gave that sister hell just to wear a set of
Mm-hmm.
radio equipment. Now you got women all over the place. But what I'm saying, men, and it didn't matter what color men was. I mean, with even with racism, sexism, crossed over differently because the white male, the black male, because they start talking to you. Well, Drum, if she come in, she gonna have your job. She gonna be able to put heels on. I mean, just think about how men think. She gonna put heels on and walk around, and you gonna do all the work. That's what's gonna
Yeah.
happen. And this is what men were saying. And not talking about sexual harassment. Some men couldn't be in a workplace with women without trying to, have sex with them on the job. Women, touching them, squeezing them, all this type stuff. Uh, and then women had to make adjustments. Women. I remember this when they uh, like the government doesn't really do a good job trying to force people to do something. They say, okay, anybody that treat the women wrong, you're gonna get suspended, you're gonna get reprimanded, yada yada yada. They throw all the laws, all the rules, all that out there. But guys will break the rules just to harass women unnecessarily. You know, say,
Mm-hmm.
curse in front of them. Say all kind of derogatory things. Well, I was in Virginia and there was a woman, and this is a little white girl out of Arkansas. And man, I heard somebody cussing folk out, saying all kind of B words and this and that, GD this and MF that. I was like, who is this? Man, she was raising Cain. She made the men sit down, and but she had to be that way because from where she came from, uh, she was a very aggressive woman. You know what I'm saying? And she
Yeah.
had the swagger, the profanity, all that. But some of these other ladies was kind of, a little timid and this and that.
Really
They
timid.
wasn't used to
Yeah.
nobody cussing them out. Come here, so and so. I mean, she was hitting the men in the chest with verbal words. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and see, and that's the only way you can get over. I ain't gonna say get over, but at least reach their plateau. You got to meet them head on. Otherwise, they'll think you're a mouse and they'll try to run over you. You
Oh
me-
yeah.
yeah. And men, they cannot stand to be supervised by women because I had a supervisory position and I had the hardest time. Those men did not want to take orders from me. It's like
Mm,
I'm trying to dominate them, and I was just doing my job.
right.
I'm not aggressive or bossy person or anything like that, but they did not want to take orders from me at all. So men, they always want to be dominant in everything, and that's why I was glad that Susan B. Anthony, fought for women's rights.
Mm,
She fought for me. She worked for for equal pay for equal work, and they, like you said, they had that dollar bill after, not dollar bill, coin, that the dollar coin after her with her picture on it. So that was a
right.
good thing, and she helped pay the raise for the 19th Amendment. Yeah, that's what it was, the 19th Amendment. She helped with that and helped women to vote. So women, there's history in there for women. Susan B. Anthony, and then there are a lot of people. Man, shoot, we could go. There's other history too as well. Like, I'm
Well,
trying to
well,
think of,
I have to
huh?
share this. One of the most powerful women in politics was a sister, Shirley Chisholm.
Mm-hmm.
Shirley, uh, I think, uh, man, I forgot what year Shirley Chisholm uh, was going to run for president. Now, Shirley
I think
Chisholm
it
was
was in the
a small,
60s or 70s that she was going to
68,
run.
something like that. Yeah, right after Nixon. But Shirley Chisholm was a small woman in stature
Mm-hmm.
and spoke hard. Uh, they uh, they would not let her be seated in the Democratic National Convention. And one of the things I always remember, she said, the only thing I wish at one moment I was a man, because all the people I saw that wanted to be men were not men that day. And she was specifically talking about this black guy out of Texas. I can't even think of his name. Because he bowed down. He got weak
Mm-hmm.
because whether it was jealousy or just his inability to see that he couldn't do it, she was able to do it. She was right in line to be a presidential nominee. And that guy during that convention, the black men that were empowered, Congress people, let her down.
Yeah.
And she was
Yeah.
a very vocal person. Chisholm was a powerful woman, and I know Maxine. We call her Auntie Maxine. Is
Maxine Waters.
powerful,
Yeah.
but Shirley
That's
Chisholm, that little girl, that little lady, she had fire. And I think about a lot of black women that I think about a lot of women that paved the way and did some things to make some things happen across the board. And that was happening in the shadows of racism, segregation, and all that. One of the things that women did, and this is an unknown thing amongst black women, uh, during the whole movement, civil rights or whatever, black women were in white households. Black women were in those households. Black women were either the maids, the nannies, whatever. So you had to observe them, you had to see them. And most of the time, they did a little bit about what was going on the outside. So that helped change the civil rights movement, because white women started looking at black women, and they started looking at themselves, and out of what black women were doing, that moved and motivated white women to want to be women livers. During the
mm-hmm.
60s, women started burning, white women go to the extreme. They start burning their bras, setting their panties on fire, wearing pants, all these rules that were set up against women. Women used to couldn't wear pants. There's a lady that got she got so I can't even think of her name. This is a white woman. She got locked up for not wearing a dress.
Oh, really?
Judge locked
Damn.
her. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the judge, and this was in the 30s. The judge
Mm.
locked her up. Let
Mm.
me see. I think she was something with Al Capone or something like that, and she was supposed to testify or something. They didn't lock her up for things like what Al Capone had done. They locked her up for wearing a dress in the courtroom.
Pants.
I mean, pants, right? Pants. See, pantsuits and all this stuff started to become a little bit later, but women couldn't, wear pants. It was against the law.
Oh. I didn't know it was against the law for them to do
Oh,
that. But I'm gonna
yeah,
tell
yeah.
you,
It wasn't.
Maxine
Well,
Waters. Yeah, Maxine
what's that?
Waters. Now that's one of my heroes. Her and Ida B. Wells. They right there together. Both of them are two foreign women.
What's the lady, Hattie? What's the lady out of Mississippi? Uh, that lady. Not I almost
Um,
said Hattie McDaniels, but it's another lady. She's out of Mississippi.
um,
Uh, they
I
almost beat
know
her to death.
Fannie Mae,
But Freddie Mae Hammond,
not Fannie Mae Hammond. Hammond.
Freddie Mae Hammond.
Okay.
Yeah, they almost beat her to death. And they had black men go upside her head, but she survived long enough to get out front and speak her piece in front of the world. So when you think about women and the achievements of women, uh, the compassion, the dedication, the willingness to go all the way. You know, sometimes men will drop the ball a lot of times,
Hmm.
but women will
Yeah.
see the task. They'll finish the task.
Yeah. And you know what men don't understand? That if you treat these women halfway right, they got your back all the way. They don't see that. You know, just to give you an example, Mary Turner. You ever heard of Mary Turner?
No.
Mary Turner, South Georgia. Let me tell you the whole story about Mary Turner. Um, it was a guy. It was Johnson, some Johnson guy who killed his employer. The employer was Mr. Smith. I'm gonna just say Mr. Smith. He was a
Mm,
bad person. He was a white planter. He even whipped Mary Turner one time. This was in 19 I think 1919, somewhere back there,
mm,
19 in the 1900s, 1919, 1918. He even whipped her, a grown woman, because she refused to work free. She worked her time and he wanted her to stay over and work some more, and she refused and he whipped her. Okay, that's how bad this white man is. Okay, so somewhere down the line, a man named Johnson killed him. Okay, so they knew he was one of the employees for Mr. Smith, and the white people, they didn't like that, and they searched high and low looking for this man, and they found Hayes Turner, which was Mary's husband. They knew that he didn't kill the man, but they got him anyway and killed him. Mary Turner was 8 months pregnant. Okay. And she
wow.
went to get justice for her husband. She went to the courthouse to get justice for her husband because they killed him unjustly. And those white people didn't, they felt like she was wrong for doing that. Who is this woman who thinks she gonna do this? They actually took that, they put her in jail for trying to get justice. They went and took her out of jail, took her to this tree, hung her upside down, and they
Goodness.
threw gas on her body. Then after they threw gas on her body, they set her on fire. This is Mary Turner. They set her on fire. When the fire went out, she was still alive. And remember, she was 8 months pregnant. And somebody cut that baby out of her stomach while she was still hanging upside down in that on that tree. They cut her stomach open. The baby fell to the ground, and then the other people start stomping that baby, saying that baby don't deserve to live. They stomped that baby dead. And can you imagine the horror of Mary trying to seeing her baby being stomped to death, and she was in pain, you know? And then after they did that, they all the white people, they took their gun and started shooting, and they were just shooting, shooting, shooting. They shot her body up. Her pieces were flying everywhere. You know,
This is
all
horrible.
because she wanted to get justice from her husband being shot. You know, and
Ooh.
this was in Georgia in 1918, I think. Her name was Mary Turner. Hayes Turner was her husband. Valdosta,
Mm.
Georgia, somewhere down in the area where this
Oh, down
happened.
there. I gotta look that up. But you know what? I heard about that. Something said I didn't know the name. They just show you the degree in which people will go to stop something. I mean, you know, you
Mm-hmm.
look at women bring life into the world. These are their sons. These men didn't come here automatically. They were birthed by a woman. Yet
Right.
they tried to suspend or control the action of efforts of women. Matter of fact, before I forget, tomorrow is International Women Day. We look at women not just here in America. You know, like I say, here in America, we have a different look at women, but the women across the diaspora, across this planet, are in different situations. There are women that are being persecuted, hurt, maimed, all kind of stuff around the world. You look at so tomorrow is the International Women's Day. Women coming from all China, India, uh, Russia, uh, different parts of Europe, different parts of Africa, different cities, different countries, different world, different spaces to celebrate International Women's Day around the world. When you look at what men, now, if there's a hell and men, some men that are very abusive, they will be spending their time in there because um, to
Mm-hmm.
to be violent towards another human being, especially a woman. And not to say women, because some people believe that women are weaker, all this type stuff. But as I look across the board, in comparison with other just species, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the female is always nurturing, protecting, all of this type stuff. So we have to look at women in a different perspective. Uh, so much around the world, women are being abused. Uh, Women are being just not appreciated in so many different facets of life. One thing that happened, whether it be Susan B. Anthony, the women liberals out of the 70s, even though America does some things, I would say America uh, has indirectly affected the relationships with women around the world. And this happened because of so many different things. Even if America wasn't trying to do it, it had to happen. When the world started to look at how America treated black people, and then they started looking at how America treated women, America had to go and you know fess up some things. So that meant
Mm-hmm.
that they just couldn't blatantly. Now there's a history of just ignorance when it comes down to treatment of women here in America. Like I say, with Barbara Walters, with all these uh, uh, Hollywood actresses that could not get a show unless they fell asleep on the couch with some big 300-pound movie producer or somebody like that. All this sexism, uh, what what
Yeah.
uh, what has happened over the years because people started to mature. Now, even if people look at the different, we call them uh, parts of gender. Whether you're looking at women, men, lesbian, gay, everybody's speaking up. You know, and women
Yeah.
have had a bigger tolerance of things with each other. Men tend to be stubborn. We tend to want to hold something over somebody, want to control what they do, want to control the actions, the efforts of women and their bodies. And like you said, they'll kill a baby. They don't mind killing a baby, but yet
Yeah.
they don't want you to do it on your term. Not abort a fetus or something like that. They say, you know what? I don't care if you got raped. She can't get rid of that baby. And this is what men
Mm-hmm.
are trying to do. Men trying to uh, control the actions and efforts of women. So women are starting to see the big picture. And women say, you know what? In order to do this, I've got to put myself in position and uh, team up or mobilize other women, train, inform, mobilize, and empower other women so that they'll know what's going on. A lot of women, especially now with the younger women, the reason women are, and I saw it down in Selma, Sunny, women are teaming up, passing the torches. There were so many groups of women that were doing initiatives to move and motivate women because women say to themselves, they say, we can keep women rights out front. Everybody else rights will fall right in line because women tend to be a little bit more compassionate. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Even though sometimes the white women will lead the sisters out there, but even the white women are starting to say, you know what? This is one fight. Okay. We have to team
Mm-hmm.
up. If if uh, if if I get something that you didn't get, it's just a matter of time before they take it from me. You know, it's just a matter of time. So women see issues at hand, they see what's needed to be done, and they put in the work.
Yeah, yeah, they are. So let's do a little history here. Claudette Colvin. Have you ever heard of her? Colvin, Claudette Colvin.
No, break it on down.
Okay, Claudette Colvin. That was the girl, teenager. I think she was about 15 years old. She was the first one to not give up her seat, not Rosa Parks. But
Okay.
uh, they wanted Rosa Parks because she was older and I guess more mature or something. I don't know. But Claudette was the first woman who did that. Female. Let's do that. Black
Big
female
two.
who refused to give up her seat to a white man. And so she
Mm.
made history in doing that. It was a teenager. Like, I'm tired. This is my seat. I'm not giving it up.
Was that the one? I know one woman. They said because she was pregnant, they didn't want to put her out front. That just shows you how men think. Men, instead of facing the issue, they said we got to have this, we got to have this, we got to have that. But kudos to that sister. What about
Yeah, no,
Bessie
well, she
Cole?
was 15 years old, so I don't think she was pregnant. I wouldn't think
Okay,
so.
well I know they said one somebody was pregnant. There's a whole lot of stuff in there. But we got to. But I'm glad that they did finally. And it was another lady too. She had a problem, and she was somewhere, I think in Mobile, Alabama. She
Mm-hmm.
refused to ride to give up her seat, but again, because organizations were controlled by men, they looked at certain things. They say, okay, she got to be the right complexion for the connection for this situation. Okay,
Yeah.
and a lot of times, that's just what it is, and that happens amongst black men, white men, uh, men across the globe. I wanted to bring up Bessie Coleman. Bessie Coleman was the first African American woman, also the first woman of Native American descent to hold a pilot's license. Bessie Coleman, powerful
Yeah.
woman. I think about Sojourner Truth. I think about Alice Coachman. Alice Coachman is from my hometown. My elementary school was named after Alice Coachman.
What did she do?
Uh, she was an Olympic athlete.
Oh, okay. So we
Long
got a
before,
couple of other Olympic athletes too. Jesse, Jackie Joyner
oh,
Jackie
okay,
Joyner Cursor, and FloJo. Did you know that they were sister-in-laws?
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So FloJo
She
married
married.
Jackie's brother, huh?
Yeah, FloJo married Jackie Joyner's
Jackie's
brother.
brother. Yeah, and
Right,
both of them were athletes. Did
right.
real well. Both of them won Olympic trophies, Olympic medals, shall I say?
Yep,
Yeah, yeah, both of them. So that was a good thing right there because Jackie Joyner, I remember her, Jackie Joyner
yeah.
Cursor.
She was
Yeah, she,
what they
track and
call,
field, huh?
and she did the triathlon, and one of those things where you do multiple things. She was
Uh-huh.
a record holder in that. Jackie Joyner Cursor. Yeah, they did a whole lot. They dominated. FloJo dominated. I think
Mm-hmm.
about so many Sojourner Truth. We just call them Mary Bacall, Bethune Cookman. Even when we look at Kamala Harris, first African American uh,
President, vice
vice president.
president.
You know,
Yeah.
uh, you look at so many contributions that women have made and continue to make as we speak. There's uh, in every country,
Yeah.
and keep in
Yeah.
mind
They
because
they they
tomorrow
do it.
is International Women's Day. When you look at women across the board, I don't care if it's India, uh, uh, Canada, Japan. different parts of Africa, whether it's in the Sudan, Liberia, Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt. Uh, Women are rising up. You
Mhm.
look at women in entertainment. Women are speaking out. Uh, there was a lot of women. I remember Rihanna and so many spoke out against the Queen before the Queen died. Before the Queen
Mm.
died, uh, they said, you're a woman. I mean, they hit her that hard. They said, you're a woman, and you've not done anything to empower women around the globe. The British that they held rule. So down in Barbados, the British Virgin Islands, and so many other spaces and places. You know, she found out, and I guess she had to walk the line before she died. The Queen. So many
Yeah.
people check. Our women are speaking up and asserting themselves. Again, I remember and this was a white woman. I was working at this company, and before I knew her name, the guy that was describing her, he called her the B word.
What?
Yeah, I mean, he's yeah, you're gonna be working for that B, and I had never met her, and but I had a good tolerance of understanding about women in the workplace. And anyway, she became one of my best supervisors. She uh I was what I'm saying. She it was things that I didn't know I could get or do at the company. Anything I needed. I mean, because I was used to. I'm gonna tell you what happened. I was used to working a physical stuff, so I was working behind a desk, and
Mm-hmm.
and and even though they weren't paying me no money, but uh, a lot of money, but I had all kind of stuff. I had liberties that I didn't have as an hourly worker. That was my first time being on what they call salary. Okay, and I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
salary people behave differently than hourly people. Salary people take 2 to 3 hour lunches. Hourly
Oh.
people would take them 40, 30, or 45 minutes. Salaried people could go out lunchtime and run around the building and come back in and take a shower. Hourly
Mm.
people couldn't do stuff like that. But anyway, I think about that, but that was this guy's introduction of my supervisor. He looked at her as being that B because she was very assertive. She let you know. She said, Mr. Drummer, this is what I need, and this is what I need. They said you can do a good job. That's what I want. I mean, she was hard line, but I wasn't not used to a woman that was holding down court. When she said something, she meant it. I knew that from my parents.
Mm-hmm.
But some guys then they thought she should have been a little timid lady that came in and said, "What you men want to do today? Yeah, I got flowers on the table. Anybody want some cupcakes?" Well, she wasn't that lady. And I think about another story. My mother was they call us bread house because my mom worked at a bread house. Bread, it's not
Mm-hmm.
a they didn't make bread, they sold bread. But my mother was one of the first women to work there. Okay. I'm gonna tell you how people are. And I found this word to mouth history. My mom, the men, black men and white men, you know, uh they had these bread trucks you could get stuff off the racks and stuff like that. Now, men took it personal. They took it personal. They wouldn't even bring the bread inside her store on the
Really?
racks. Yeah, no, they would. They stopped it right there. So you got to come get this. I mean, now just think about this. This is what they did. Now, over time, they became better, but because she was a woman working a job that they thought they should have, the men, black and white, because like I said, see, this is cultural stuff. This passed down. Like when I was in the Navy, they were saying, "Man, these women gonna take your job. You ain't
Mm.
gonna get no advancement in rank, or they could. It's all kind of stuff. If you get caught up. But these were men that went out of their way to make her job harder. They'll leave a rack of bread out there in the rain, and she had to go out there and get it.
Yeah, she ever complain about it?
Well, they wanted her to complain because they what I'm saying now, these are subtle things. You can complain about it, but guess what her supervisor said?
What?
Don't get that bread wet.
Her supervisor was a man?
Yeah. So they bought
Yeah.
into the
I don't know.
culture.
I don't understand why men try to make it so hard for women. They make it so hard. I've been on a job where there are certain guys I had to just stray away from, because they make these sexual advances on you. You got to just keep your distance. And it's like, why do you have to go through stuff like that just because you are a woman? And when I was in college, this man said something about he was going to make an advance. He was going to get me or something like that. And I told him he'll die in hell trying, and I lost my job because I don't want him. Yeah. I lost my job, but that was okay because I was standing up for me. And what women have to do, they have to stand up for what they believe in. They can't be used by these men because sometimes they want promotions and they earned it, but they won't get it unless they do these favors. The only way they can get it is do the favors. It's like, bump that. I just do without.
It happens across the board. It happens in labor, work. It happens in organizations. I don't care if it's the church. I don't care if it's a community organization. Women have to deal with so much stuff. I remember this lady, she said, "Drummer, I'm part of the civil rights movement. Guess what them she was a hard little lady. She's these so-and-so gonna tell me to bring donuts and coffee. I didn't come to cook donuts and coffee. I came to get black folks free." And the men, because either they didn't know no better, they were used to doing stuff like that, didn't want the input. Even doing the civil rights thing, there's a lady, and she was able to get some tread in there, a little bit of work during the civil rights movement, because the civil rights movement was mostly controlled by black men.
Yeah.
They didn't, they said, well, we're going to, because they was thinking just like white men. It was like, well, even though women was doing hard work, they put in work, getting hit upside the head, and more women got knocked upside the head in Bloody Sunday. But, again, the men were the ones that could tell the story. There were women that got just beat up, shot, all this stuff. But again, going racism is a little bit higher than sexism, gender, and stuff like that. We just starting to deal with gender and sexism. That's why all the stuff we're dealing with now, even though it's always been here, we just starting to deal more because of women and their rights, that we starting to deal with other people and their rights. All this comes, race, gender, sexism, all that stuff starts to come out. There's it's horrible. But
and you say that racism is higher than sexism, but what about you combining them? Because I know this doctor,
you got a double dipper. As a black woman,
I know this doctor who was messing with this woman. He even had a baby by this black woman, and her husband couldn't do anything about it. And when she got pregnant a second time, she actually killed that doctor. She went to jail for it, but he would come in and rape her and have his way with her all the time. And she couldn't do anything because she was a black woman. And this was in the 40s, 30s, somewhere back there. It was in Florida. Yeah. And she couldn't do anything. She just killed him. In her life, of course, her husband had a heart attack and died, after that, because he was so scared what's going to happen, but he couldn't do anything to help his wife because he had to leave or stay there and watch. This
mm.
man raping his wife over and over again. She had one baby by this doctor, and then she get
Mm.
pregnant again. And the
Wow.
woman, she got tired. And so what men have to understand that women get tired. They take so much and bang, bang, or they leave you or something.
Uh, you hate to see it happen, but and this is because we deal with domestic violence. We talk about women's rights and things like that, but there's also
Mm,
domestic violence. There's also so many things that are being done against women, and now it's in the forefront. It's on the plate, and as we deal with it, we have conversations amongst ourselves. Uh, we start to appreciate each other more. I think the Creator didn't want us to be against each other, whether it's racial, gender, any of those things. But over time, we've been taught a lot of bad behavior towards each other,
mm-hmm.
and then that puts us in a position. I mean, you think you're right. There will be men that would be just like uh in the racial situation, not wanting a little girl to go to a school, spitting on her, throwing rocks at her, all this stuff, burning down school, blowing up buildings, blowing up churches, all this stuff, all because they don't want this to happen. It's the same thing when it came down to women's rights. A lot of men, insecurity, inability to just man up, went after women in a bad way, and across the globe, you see it. You see it everywhere. But it's changing, and the work that so many
Yeah,
women have did has changed it. So kudos, thank you, power
yeah.
to the people,
You're
power
welcome.
to the women.
And if men listen to women more often, they will come out better. Because I've seen a lot of times where men get themselves in a crack and women were trying to tell them what to do, what not to do, and they wouldn't listen because they know better. And then when they get themselves in this crack, then they come to the woman for advice and help, you know? So
Well,
if they
men
listen,
have a
because
hearing
we
too.
do have a little taste of wisdom,
Yeah.
you
Well, you
know?
know what? And this goes back to the Garden of Eden story. They say that story has been twisted. Okay. They
Uh-huh.
say now in certain cultures they don't call them Adam, they call them Eve. But the story is similar. It's where the man misbehaved, and when the man
Mm-hmm.
misbehaved, not the woman, it was the man. And see, men have twisted history and put themselves in a more favorable godlike position. Okay, this stuff goes so deep. That's why this throughout uh, man telling the story, the hunter, the conqueror, the convincer of his own truth. He's put himself in a position, and we've internalized it. It takes therapy for men to get out of all this nonsense, where they think they got to control the actions or efforts of another human being.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you're making me think, because they always say Eve gave the apple to Adam and caused the world to be in chaos. But then you think
Uh,
about um, Lilith left Adam because of his behavior. So
First time,
yeah.
yep, yep. Now,
So
that it depends on who's telling the story and why they telling it and who they
hmm
telling it to.
yeah, so man is not that good. They should know. They should learn how to be equal. Women are their helpmate. They're not there to dominate. They're there to help you, and they need to understand that. They're not trying to take over. Nobody wants to be in a man's position. I don't.
See,
I like being treated like a lady, but you're not going to dominate me.
yeah.
That's the
Well,
thing. You're supposed to protect me, cuddle me, pro- provide for me, and all that kind of stuff. Now, just
they
because I
can't
want
let
to help
go.
out, and just because I want to have my own life, my own title, you know, doesn't mean that I want to dominate you. It's
Right.
just I want my own self identity. And what men don't understand, women, they need their own self-identity. I can't be Mrs. Jones all the time. What about Miss Hayes, Miss Sylvia? You
Oh,
know,
okay.
so a lot of people are known by their husband's name. You know, what about my name?
Who
Know
thought
me
of
by
that?
my name. Huh?
Yeah, you got to ask yourself who thought of that. In the 20th century, this century, women started using the hyphen. Uh, now, and some women, uh, even after the divorce, now some women just keep the same name after they've been
Mm-hmm.
divorced. But some women are so indoctrinated until they take the other one off. They might have came into the marriage with a hyphen, you know, uh, and when they left, they dropped the surname of their husband. The women are
Yeah.
doing that more now than ever before because uh, that's a legal binding thing. It's a lot that's in that thing when you take on somebody's name. Like you say, you lost your name, okay?
Yeah.
Uh, and uh, so a lot of stuff out of traditions. Some of these traditions are, and that's one reason a lot of young women are not married. I had a young lady. She said, I'm not giving up my title.
Yeah, you don't
Nobody.
have to. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going on my 20th year of marriage, 20 years this year, and I am yet to change my name. I was born Sylvia Hayes, and I'm going to die Sylvia Hayes. You know, I'm still
Yeah.
Mrs., but I didn't change my name. Changing my
Yeah.
name does not make the bond any different. You know, I'm still me. You know, we still married. We still love each other. You know, changing my name got nothing to do with it. That's my identity. I don't have to change my identity to be with you. I'm still me. So that's the way it is. And some men, I know one man told me, he said, you couldn't be my wife. I'm going, I just
Mm,
won't be your wife. Because he would want me to have his name. Go, how
hey,
about you
yeah.
taking my name? You know, what
Well,
about that?
yeah. Yeah. Now there's a cases where men have taken on the name of the woman spouse. Yeah, it's a
Really?
lot. Like we're in a different world now, and again, everything's about self identification.
Hmm.
And empowerment, self empowerment. Uh, Anybody that tries to manipulate, control, whether it be doing race, color, religion, or whatever they're doing to try to rally and control people like they're cattle or chickens going out, to be slaughtered. And I think there's a woke, we call it being woke or whatever, but it's all across the globe. People are waking up. They're like, man, I ain't got to do this. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to find an old foo. What's that? You remember Eddie Murphy saying, "Man, I'm gonna go." They used to say, "Man, you get a woman that's gonna follow you. You better go down south." Well, you can't find them down south now. Now they, and you can't go across the water and find them because women across the board are saying, "You know what? I don't have to bow down to you. None of this type of stuff. It's they still got some male on the brides. I think even what's Donald Trump's wife, the ex. I think she left him because you don't see her no more.
Really? Yeah, that
Oh
don't
yeah,
surprise me.
yeah, but she probably woke up and said, you know what? I'm a woman. You can't treat me like this. Treat me like I'm a Barbie doll and just parade me because she got a mind. She got some intelligence. She knows some stuff. She
Hmm.
ain't doing But anyway,
Yeah.
that's
But
my thoughts on it.
yeah, well, with her, just to get on the end, you could tell something was wrong when he grabbed for her hand and he jerked it back. She
Ooh,
jerk it back. Yeah, he grabbed for
yeah.
her hand and she jerked it back. You could tell then something was going on.
Oh yeah, she wasn't
So
going
I'm
down
not
before then.
surprised.
Mm.
Yeah. But our time has ended. And I guess I gotta say we have the power. Um, Kudos. Keep your power because there's so much knowledge out there that women have, and we have to share. And before we go, I have to talk about the Secretary of Interior. Her name is Deb Haaland. She was the first Native American. I'm going to read this off. She was the first Native American to hold office, and normally it's held by a white man. She stopped the drilling and hunting on the federal land. She renamed federal parks that was taken away from the Native American, gave them back their name, their Indian name, because she herself is Native American. Okay, and she gave land back to Hawaii, to the Hawaiians that was taken from them. And she established she established a bureau to investigate the missing children, because a lot of the Indians, that was missing, they went to these re-educated schools, okay, and they came up missing. A lot of Native women came up missing and killed and stuff. So she's been doing investigation, had a bureau and a task force to investigate all of this, to see what is going on and what has happened to these women. And so I want to give kudos out to her. Her name is Deb Haaland, first Native American woman, who's doing a great job in trying to investigate, because Native American women have really gone through it. They have been misused and abused and killed and all of that other stuff. And it's time to get justice for the things that they have gone through, and for the family members who missing their family. It is time to get justice, and she's doing that as the Secretary of Interior. Yeah, so I am glad to hear that, because, again, Native Americans have gone through some stuff. Like, we have gone through some stuff. The Black people have gone through some stuff, but the Native Americans have really gone through some stuff, okay? Because they take their land, try to make them white and all of that. Who wants to be white? They say white Indians don't know how to live. They're not domestic, okay? So they want to make them domestic, want to cut their hair off and just make them white. They want everybody to be white. They want Black people to act like they're white. They want Indians to act like they're white. Everybody have to be white, but yet still, who wants to be white? I don't. So kudos to her. And just remember, women have power. They have done so much. From cooking meals to inventing all kinds of things. Women are up there. They have power, they have knowledge, and they are strong. So respect the women, because they are the mothers. Okay, these women gave birth to children, gave birth to the nation. We're the one who gave birth, gave life. So respect and honor the women. And so until next week, this is Women History Month. And don't forget my book, Power Thoughts, Empowering You to Be Successful in Life. And we're going to see you next week. Y'all have a good one, okay? Thanks. Bye.